action.
Welcome to General Council for October 8th. Identification of media. I don't see any. So before we get started, let us take a moment of silence to honor the community members we have lost recently. Let's take a moment. Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Any deletions or additions? If not, can I have a mover? Moved by Audrey, second by Carrie. All in favor? Any opposed? See none, carried. Number 3, there's no delegations tonight. So number 4, adoptions of General Council minutes of September 24th. If there's no questions or comments, is there a mover? Moved by Audrey. Seconder. Second by Leslie. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Chief's updates. So my updates. Keep an eye out for our political newsletter. Council and I have been working with staff to put together a new comprehensive newsletter that will be issued to the community in November in conjunction with the next issue of the Leisure Guide. The first issue will focus on sharing all the work that has been done over the first year of the 59th elected council. We are excited to communicate these updates to the community. Keep an eye out for our first issue. I continue to meet with community members. In a recent example, I met with a community member about concerns of discrimination in the federal hiring. My staff will be looking into this to see if federal ombudsman services could be helped in such situations. An update from the environment officials on getting carbon tax funds back to First Nations. The Federal Department of Environment sent out a notice in September advising that they were concluding some engagement with Chiefs of Ontario and others about the government's plans to return carbon tax fuel charge proceeds as a rebate back to First Nations. As a reminder, the government engaged directly with Chiefs of Ontario a few years ago and did not directly engage with Six Nations of the Grand River. My office then followed up with officials at Environment and Climate Change Canada about the state of their engagement, and they reported that they had received feedback that any formulas they use should be based on the population adjusted basis that doesn't begin by recognizing and funding the Métis Nation of Ontario. Next, the Volunteer Appreciation Lunch. We hosted a Volunteer Appreciation Lunch to thank all the community volunteers who pulled together to make recent community events happen. The events included the Six Nations hosting the Chiefs of Ontario Assembly this past summer here in Sweden, and the Stanley Cup celebration for Brandon Montour and the Panthers. Councillor Leslie Green, Councillor Dean Hill, Councillor Melba Thomas came to assist with handing out the food for the volunteers. The volunteers were very grateful to be acknowledged and appreciated. I attended the Six Nations Police Badge Ceremony on September 12th. And to support of our police service and the new constables, I congratulated the 3 new police officers as well as the 2 new police dogs in the Six Nations Police K-9 unit. Staff Appreciation Barbecue and Baseball Tournament was September 18th. I joined other council employees at the annual Staff Appreciation Baseball Tournament Barbecue. I played 4 games straight, had a great time. I was sore the next day, but it was all in fun. I also was in the dunk tank that day too. This was a great way to boost staff morale, to have fun, to have some laughs, and get to know their staff more. I met with Larry Brock on September 17th to share Six Nations of the Grand River's thoughts and opinions on Canada's proposed bill, Bill C-61, First Nations Clean Water Act. I communicated to MP Brock and to staff in another MP's office that the proposed act falls short of guaranteeing access to clean, safe drinking water. It does not support water being a basic human right. The bill says the government will make best efforts, but does not guarantee anything. This language protects the federal government from being accountable and upholding the responsibility to provide clean drinking water. I informed NP of my intention to appear in person before the House of Commons Standing Committee on Indigenous Affairs and to provide a written submission to supplement. That's my update. Can I have a mover to accept his information? Moved by Audrey, second by Amos. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Let's go to number 6, Hydro 1. The Six Nations by Grand River Elected Council approved the request by Hydro 1 Networks Inc. to replace and relocate hydro poles at Seneca Road and Second Line intersection. Is there a mover? Yep. So moved by Audrey, seconder. Second by Dale. Questions? Audrey.
Thank you. Okay, I'm only replacing a couple of them because when I saw the map, there were poles down Seneca Road, and then there are poles close to the corner on the second line. The circles. The red circles?
Oh, the red ones are all new poles.
And there's lots of them, right?
Yes.
And there's what, 2 or 3 on the second line? Well, that's very good news because I'm going to be moving my hydro pole to the road. Thank you.
So it was moved by Audrey, second by Dale. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Yeah, go ahead, Dale.
No, just a comment, I guess, so maybe you're still following up in regards to, I guess, what Hydro 1's request is, because, you know, I've been talking about this not happening before, and they make a change, so I don't know, we're going to go back to that with the director of public works, we should decide on this.
Yeah, we actually had a meeting, was it last week? Last week? Losing my weeks. We had a meeting last week and kind of formulated that task force with key individuals, Chief was involved too, with key individuals from Hydro One, and that was one of the issues, is streamlining that back to the original process. Like I said, they had a massive turnaround in employees as well over at Hydro One, and I think a number of them are getting themselves up to speed with legal processes.
And just along that, I think it's great that we're having these monthly meetings because of the hydro issues, and we're able to work over regarding the hydro issue in the everlasting tree, and they're able to get hydro down for the school. So I think these monthly meetings are so important to keep on top of the issues that are in our community. So let's go to number 7, Six Nations Community Engagement Sessions. Go ahead, Nathan.
So I just wanted to more or less solidify some dates with council for 2 remaining sessions. We have one session where we want to talk specifically about annuals, but also mold in general. And we've also insisted and sent letters of invites to Indigenous Services Canada to have a representative there, because the ownership of the annuals is with them. And they should be present to answer the questions regarding annuals. So the team's preparing, and we're going to suggest either the October 23rd or 24th date. Just waiting to hear back from ISP on narrowing down who their representative is. It's likely going to be a lady by the name of Lisa Westaway to come down. So I'm just waiting to confirm either the 23rd or the 24th works for her schedule. So I just wanted to give that update. Oh, question?
Cynthia?
Yeah, this Lisa, do you know Nathan, is she a mold specialist or will she bring a mold specialist with her? I know the, questions that have been posed to me was that they need to have someone that specializes in mold to answer those, because that's the sort of questions people have.
Yeah, and this is the kind of fight back and forth. We have insisted that they bring their specialist down in terms of to provide that information. My concern though is we did have a session with the staff where their individual was more denialist, saying there was no issue. So I'm kind of measuring it where, yes, we'll have their specialists, but we're also going to work hard to get our specialists there as well.
Okay.
Well, we're just waiting back to hear from ISC on either which date that they'll be down. So I did set expectations to say, bring your folks and have a presentation ready for the community and be prepared to do some Q&A. Myself, Robert Hill, as well as Deborah, Jonathan will fill out the remainder of that panel to provide the information to the community.
Hazel, then Amos.
With regard to Lisa Westaway, do you know what her position is, that is? If she's gonna represent?
Yeah, so she reports to the Assistant Deputy Minister of FNEB. Her title escapes me, but I want to say Senior Advisor on FNEB. I'll email everyone her exact title.
Amos?
So this is going to be a public meeting in the evening? Oh, sorry.
That's correct.
So we should put that in the chief's report today, on Fridays?
So as we get a date, I'll make sure that I say that to the community for sure.
And the second engagement, we're looking for a date from council, because I'm thinking either the following week, either the 29th or 30th, to do the second generation cutoff. And I'm working with Lori to get those dates solidified, but also have a presentation. And again, we'll need a ISP representative to do that particular piece. But those are the dates floated right now. I just wanted council to know that we are working on those engagement sessions and with our friends over at ISP. But just waiting to hear back from ISP on their availability as well, which is taking a little bit of time.
Okay, Audrey?
Okay. Has anybody, or does anyone know what the other First Nations are doing with this second generation cutoff? That you spoken to any other First Nations chiefs, et cetera?
I haven't known.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to number 8, Stanley Cup Parade, expense update.
I do have an Excel spreadsheet. Just need to pull it up. And Brooke's pulling it up as well. So this is a bit more of a deeper presentation than I provided last time, and as you can see, costs have gone up slightly. So by way of breakdown, we broke it down in 2 areas. The first I'll be presenting is the parade and media conference. So we did have merchandising giveaways, and those were the hockey cards, pucks, and shirts. Those came in at $25 million, but some additional kind of cost to that. The media conference, the event support, the decorations. There was food provided for the media event, as well as advertising to the community and all the signage that you did see. That brought us up to $57,379, combined with the merchandise and the giveaways at $25,936, brought us to a total cost of $83,315 for the event and the Where some of the big costs came in was the safety aspects of things, as well as the ECG requirements, and that was for the security company, as well as duty pay for the police, IMS communications, the tents, the fencing, and the line barriers. We had some additional porta potties come in with water stations, as well as the stage setup. That cost was $135,838, bringing us to a total cost of $219,153. There are some additional pieces in there. The watch parties, which were approved by council, those were $21,246, as well as merchandise costs for the signs and shirts that we sold, just under $40,000.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I would just like to thank the community for all their support and coming out during that event. I think it was a once-in-a-lifetime event, well, once-in-a-lifetime event for me. We did have a very good positive feedback from the handlers. They said it was one of the best run events that they've ever attended. I know the Montour family did appreciate both the organization and also the security involved, because they did have security prior to the parade, as well as during the parade and just somewhat after. So they did appreciate that, and I would like to thank the Montour family for all their help and advice, and of course all our I would say hard-working volunteers and staff that came out that day and helped out. I thought it was a well-attended event. We got a positive response from media, and that day went very well. That part of the day went very well. One other thing too is we made up to, I believe, close to $20,000, $17,000 that will be going to, Jay Silverheels, so that they can use that extra money. So I did like to thank the community for actually purchasing all those, and it's going to be going to good use. One of course, the extra cost, if we separate it, was for security, and of course it was under the advice of our police, and our police did a great job in that. So overall, I thought it was a great event. The weather held off, so overall it was really a good event, and I think it was well worth the cost.
Thank you. Dale and Audrey.
So Nathan, on your part, you require a post-approval in regards to that? Because I know we originally gave one, which was 50, so now I think we're gonna have to authorize another one for you. And I think it's probably within your authorization, but since we already gave an original resolution, we should probably be giving you an amending one that's post-approval.
I agree, and I'm pretty 95% sure these are all final costs.
Audrey?
Yeah, excuse me, just want to echo to what Greg said. It was amazing to see our community members out and to see so many young smiling faces. And I think one of my favorite parts was when they were getting their pictures and family pictures taken with our great hockey player. And it was really good to know that Brandon, for the people who didn't get to have a picture with him, that they went down that carousel back and forth so that they could take their own pictures of him. So they have memorabilia, and it was one of the nicest turnouts that we've had, and it was so successful. And it meant everybody who had a hand in it. And the councilors even got a picture to take with Brandon as well, so it was a good day held by all. And no, the rain didn't hold up. A bunch of us were outside and we got soaked in the torrential downpour. But it was a fun day, you know.
So can I have a mover for a post-approval? Is there a mover? Moved by Leslie, second by Hazel. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Let's go to number 9, recommendation from internal systems. Dale, do you want to speak to
You
this?
want me to speak to that?
Oh, okay, go ahead, Leila.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry I can't be there with you. Can you hear me well enough?
Yes.
Okay. So last time we were at general council, we talked about the community donation grant and sponsorship fund policy. So this is coming from the internal systems committee. And Dwayne and his team have worked on this. And at the last meeting, there were some questions and concerns and suggestions from council. So we were just coming up to our internal systems committee meeting, so it was good timing. We took those comments back, and so we have now an updated version of the policy. Hopefully everybody's got a chance to see it, but I'll just kind of summarize the changes that were made. So we heard comments about, the letter of reference, so we had discussion about that. So that's been taken out of the policy so that there's no need for families to provide a letter of reference for the application. We have also, let me scroll down here, sorry, I'm two screens right now. There was also a concern about assistance with filling out the application if parties had trouble doing so. So section 4.4 was added, and that gives applicants assistance from the community liaison officer to help them fill out that application, make sure that it's complete and everything's there for them. Like we mentioned earlier, at the last meeting, the amounts have been increased. So for anybody that's watching and didn't see the last meeting, those amounts for donations have been increased. I believe it was 500 from the last policy, and now it's 1,000. And then for an association, a community association, that's 2,000. And I believe it's the sponsorship for community organizations that's been up to 3,000. We did have a conversation about the volunteer hours. So Dwayne has, let me see what section that is. Dwayne has made a little bit of a change in the policy to give the committee a little bit more flexibility there. However, because the purpose of the policy does state that SNGREC has regularly supported individual members and community organizations that foster community volunteerism and engagement, we kept the volunteer hours in there. So from the last conversation that we had, they were decreased from the policy that exists right now. But now this policy gives the committee a little bit more flexibility. So if the child or whomever cannot, the parent can complete the hours for them, the reduced amount of hours. For a vulnerable person, they may not have to do volunteer hours if they're not able. And whoever does the hours does have 6 months to complete the volunteer hours from the time of application. So there's a lot of wiggle room, there's a lot of assistance to apply for the donation grant or sponsorship. And hopefully this satisfies the table so we can finalize the policy. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for that, Elena. So again, with the hours, volunteer hours, they don't have to have them before, right? The application, now they can do them after the application. Is that correct?
It's within 6 months of the application date.
Oh. Okay, thank you. I just wanted clarification because I know before it was, you had to have them before when you were applying. Thank you. Audrey?
Yes, would you please go over again for the community, the ages of people who are donating for the youth? You can go to the donation fund and also the committees. And also let them know, where they can pick up a copy of this policy once it's completed. Yeah. you answered both of them.
Sorry, thank you.
They're not online, so, but you can pick them up here at the administration building at the front desk. So is there a mover on these, on this resolution? Moved by Melba, second by Dale, all in favor? They opposed? See none, carried.
Just as a note, Shirley just put in the chat here on Zoom that they will be available online once, it's finalized in the policy department.
Okay, thank you. Move on second reading, moved by Dale, second by Cynthia, all in favor? May opposed? See none, carried. Let's go to number 10, update from committees. Community committee? That'll be Dean.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, so far in the community committee, I'll give a couple updates to some of the work that has been done so far and the work that we're in progress of. First, I do want to mention and thank the community for their support and their participation in the pool meeting that happened this past Sunday. I thought that it was fairly successful. It was a good group that came out, and it was good to hear the community's concerns and ideas about a potential project, I should say, that could be coming down the line. And these type of ideas and these type of gatherings can only happen if you support it, right? So I'm thankful that we did have a good turnout, and it went fairly well for community support and council support as well. Next thing I would like to update on as well is the work that has been done on the Special Chiefs Assembly coming up, related to the final agreement, long-term reform for the First Nation Child and Family Services Programming. We've been working a lot, updating council, also working with our social services director and the community committee and councilors to allow the chief to go prepared into the meeting coming up this 10th of October to vote on behalf of the final agreement that is coming down the line, and the following one on the 8th and next week. And lastly, from the community committee is the radio updates this week. I'll be on the radio to discuss some of the events that will be happening for the month of October and the beginning of November in the departments of Parks and Recreation and Social Services. So a lot of the public events that are happening in our community hall and our arena will be on the radio this Friday. So make sure to tune in, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Cynthia?
Yeah, I just thought it should be noted, some of the comments I heard is generally people are very supportive of this pool, but then some of the other comments is council should first invest, for example, in water hookups. So I think it's important to understand this is not a council initiative, council funded, it's private business within the community, so it's not council's call. I thought we should clarify that because I've heard that quite a few times. When we hear that, it kind of makes sense, but it's not a council initiative.
Thank you for that, for clarifying that. Anything else? If not, Unity Building and Governance Relations. I chair that. We did the terms of reference and mandate, a discussion on excise tax with community business owners to inform my witness testimony to the House of Commons, the INN Standing Committee, that'll be later this fall. Executive Director of Nation Building, Trevor Bunbury, attends each meeting to provide standing updates on his work. Had meetings with various external bodies that are interested in pursuing a relationship with Six Nations of Grand River elected council. This committee makes recommendations to full council for the final decision. So that's where that's at. And C, wealth and economy. Greg?
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Yes, as you know, working with our Economic Development Corporation, we are trying to be known as probably a leader in First Nations green energy projects. As you know, we are involved with wind, solar, and also battery storage. We did have the opportunity to meet with a large conglomerate with Atura Power. Of course, they're into battery storage and green hydrogen. And green hydrogen is something new. That's something we'll be looking at. We had the opportunity to partner with them. And of course, our bid was refused, but that doesn't stop us from continuing on with their work. They did want to meet with us for further projects. They do have a project going up in Nanticoke, so we're actively engaged with them to see if we can become partners in further projects with them. The other is we met with the City of Toronto Procurement Office, and they're eager to have our small businesses as well as large construction businesses as well to be available for projects that are in and around the Greater Toronto area. One of the things that they did emphasize is that there is opportunities for our smaller vendors and artisans that involve clothing, caterers, and also artisans as well. They will be trying to set up an engagement process here with us, and they will have an actual forum. They'll set up a forum so that small businesses can come, find out how they can do business in Toronto, even if it's for a short period of time or special events, and how they will be able to do that. We also will be working with them on making sure that there are no barriers to us in terms of certification and licensing, and that's still a lot of further work to be done. So that we will inform the community of this engagement session with them. I know they're eager to have our businesses in the City of Toronto, and we are eager actually to promote Six Nations culturally as well as with our small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Can I have a mover to accept A, B, and C as information? Moved by Cynthia, second by Leslie. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Yeah, so that's the end of tonight. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Hazel, second by Leslie. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Thank you for joining.